Drop it. Drop it.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Pops and Drops podcast. On this week's episode, we have Spaceman, who is one of the most talented DJs in Portland. He's performed at Dancefestopia. He's been support for Stick Kick at Realm, and he's just an amazing DJ. Hey, how's it going?
I'm great, guys. I'm happy to be on. I'm stoked to tell you my story, my journey through the Spaceman project. And I'm ready to tell everybody, what Spaceman's all about. Let's get to it. I'm hyped.
Awesome. So what first got you into DJing?
So my father DJ'd. Back in the day, he DJ'd weddings, private parties. And I helped him load up a lot of his gear. He spun vinyl out of the back end of a Corvette Stingray.
Nice.
Oh, that's so cool.
So I would see him set up all of his gear, and we'd go to car shows, and he'd DJ at cruise-ins with all these classic cars. And I would just observe what he was doing, and I was like, this is like really, really cool. It started even when I was like a baby. My mom introduced me to like Daft Punk, Enigma, and all these electronic groups, and she would tell me stories about how I would dance to Around the World and Technologic, and I was just like the happiest little bean. And then, I was in bands. I taught myself how to play piano and like the guitar all by ear.
Nice.
Before I could even read music.
Yeah.
And that tailored me into just being, I guess, musically inclined, to just love music itself, and seeing my father do his thing. I have photos of him, and of him just doing his thing, and I'm just like so locked in to like what he was doing. And inevitably he passed when I was in high school. And that's sort of what got me into shows and raving and music. And that's kind of where it all started, was watching him do his thing. And my mom loved it. She came with us, and I was exposed to DJing vinyl and CDs and records at a really, really young age, and music just in general. So, a couple years ago, that's kind of where I thought about, starting the Spaceman project, was because I had gone to so many events, and kind of shared my passion for music throughout my family.
Yeah.
My mom's a singer. I have three brothers actually, and they are all in music. One raps, the one's a singer for the gospel church in Florida. So it was just a lot of exposure to music at a really young age.
Yeah.
And that's what got me into, inevitably losing my father and wanting to pick up what he did and kind of live my life through music and continue his legacy as a DJ for my mom, because she lost him, and, she loved seeing me out on the stage, and that's where I got my start. Was my dad did it, and I wanted to follow in his footsteps.
That's beautiful that you're carrying on the torch.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
I'm really sorry to hear about your dad. That's a very developmental age, right at high school. But that is awesome that you guys had that connection from such a young childhood, that he was able to still kind of be there for you during that time and help raise you.
Absolutely, yeah. It was a big turning point in my life. I had music at the time. He was really into Lady Gaga and kind of like that pop culture music that was coming out like right at the cusp before like dubstep came in, before the Ruskos and the Flux Pavilions and the Excisions and the Skrillexes. It was like right before that started, he ended up passing, and I'm like, man, if you could see what we got going on now, it's insane. So yeah, it was a dark moment, but I carried the torch and created more light behind it, and that's
Yeah.
kind of what it's all about.
Yeah.
That's amazing you took it that direction.
Yeah. And
Thank you.
he's still watching down. He's still seeing it
Oh
all.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Every now and again, I feel like a presence around me, and that's what helps me play, and that's the support that I need from him, and my mom. Even though he's not here, it all helps. So yeah, it's just kind of passing the torch on to me, and just making sure that I do what I need to do.
Has
Yeah.
your mom come to a couple of your shows?
He has, and she's been in the crowds that I've had 500 people, or she's the only one on the dance floor. And
Yeah.
every time she's like, "That's my kid up there." I'm like,
Aw. Yay.
Absolutely. It's nothing but love from her, and she sees that I'm really passionate about it, and it's awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
that's great.
beautiful. Um,
Thanks, guys.
where did the inspiration for your name come from? Where did Spaceman? How did that
So that's the cool
start?
story. So when my mother was pregnant with me, she named me Story because there's an astronaut named Story Musgrave.
Yeah.
And so I was named after an astronaut. And the story goes, um, some documentary she was watching, and Story was like the man. Everyone would come to Story for this or that or whatever it was that they needed, and she was like, "Man, that guy's kind of badass." Like I want to name my kid Story. Because I know he's gonna be badass.
Yeah.
And that's where the Spaceman name came from. Was I wanted to continue like the story of the spaceman,
Yeah.
Yeah.
essentially, as weird as that sounds, but
It's
it
so
just kind of
cool.
clicked.
Kind of
And
pay
I was
tribute back
like,
to that.
I thought about being like, read my story, or long story short was already taken. And I was like, I think like NASA's awesome. I love space. Let's rock with the spaceman character, and kind of see where it takes me. And it was within like a couple of minutes of me creating my name. I'm like, I'm gonna be called Spaceman,
Yeah.
and that's where the whole astronaut thing comes from, is because I was named after one of the most prolific astronauts in the whole world, and I'm like, you know what, I like that,
Yeah.
and people love space, so like, I'm like, this has got to be a win-win.
Yeah. That's badass.
Mhm.
That's really cool. I didn't know that. That's awesome. That link is so cool. Um, so do you what I know you said, I mean, NASA's obviously a big part of you and your story, and you know, do you draw inspiration outside of music from any other source? Like,
So yeah, it's funny. So when I was in high school, I'm sure you guys know who Hardwell is.
yeah.
Mhm.
And he had a track called Spaceman. Da, 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 da,
Yeah.
da. And I heard that for the first time in high school, and I was like, that's so sick. Like,
Yeah.
that's such a cool beat. Like, the Spaceman tracks from Hardwell, or really whoever it is, just the theme in general from the songs that I play, or the vibes that they give off, kind of dark energy. Um, I pull a lot of my inspiration from music, obviously NASA itself, kind of wherever I can pick up on, space themes, whether it's tracks talking about galaxies or artists who have, space in their name. I kind of just generalize into one big pool, kind of pick what I like, pick what maybe is a little bit too over the top, and then just kind of run from there. A lot of it does have to do with just like NASA in itself. I think it's cool. Space is awesome, but a lot of it is different artists, um, the wordplay and sets that I do, talking about blasting off in the galaxy and just making it fun.
Yeah.
It's music should be fun. It shouldn't be too serious.
Yeah.
There's a balance between that. So I find a lot of my pull kind of comes from the universe, just kind of what speaks to me, and I gotta listen. Sometimes, it's not the right fit, but most of the time, I make it work. And so it's not just the music, it's um like space in itself. That's the great unknown.
Yeah.
And I think that's badass.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's infinite.
It is. Our
Absolutely, to infinity and beyond,
yeah.
right?
Our approach to music is very, very similar. Um, you kind of watching your sets. You do a lot of wordplay, and you do tell a story, which is
hmm
awesome because that's also your name. Do you have any really memorable sets or stories that you remember telling, or any like what was like one
So
of your
yeah,
favorite live shows?
so I think my favorite part of Spaceman is how it started. I was driving to the gorge one day, sun setting, and I don't know if you've driven 84 East
Yeah.
towards Hood River, but it's beautiful when the sun's coming down. Some of the most immaculate sunsets you could ever see. And I'm just vibing to some house music, just sitting there, and it was like a click in my head. It was like a light switch came on, and I'm like, man, I've been listening to this music for like 10 years now. I've been going to shows and raving and doing all this. Like, why can't I do this?
Yeah.
And I like floored it home, just fucking gunned it to Hood River, and rolled up to my mom's house. And I like threw the door open. I think I even kicked it open. And I was like, Mom, sit down. And she's like, what? And I was like, I want to do what Dad did. And she's like, what do you mean? And I was like, I want to DJ, but I need to spend like 4 grand, like invest in this project in me. I need decks, speakers, flash drives, um, and a case and XYZ 1 2 3. And she's like sitting there, and like a tear ran down her face, and she was like, okay. But I was like, but give me 6 months. Give me 6 months, and I promise you I will play one of the biggest venues in Portland. Give me 6 months. Well, 6 months to the date after I had played small venues, played to no one, played for free, played anywhere that I could, live streamed myself for hours,
Yeah.
just perfecting my craft. 6 months to the date, I got booked for Bear Grillz. And I fact checked it. It was Bear Grillz at the North Warehouse.
Nice.
That is so
That's
And I
badass.
called my mom and I was like, remember when I told you 6 months ago that I was going to play the biggest venue in Portland? Well, I did, and I am. Like, I'm going to do it. And her next words out of her mouth was, "That's my kid." Like, fuck yeah, like that's super awesome. And from that point, it was like things were just working. Like I was getting booked. Like I had my first headline set at Opaline as my second show. Because I had someone reach out and be like, "Hey, you want to play?" And I ended up being the headliner, and I'm like, "Whoa, dude! I've never even mixed on CDJs before, so I brought my own setup. I brought this thing just to play."
Yeah.
And I would say that was my most like memorable experience that pushed me to continue.
Mm-hmm.
Had I not gotten what I'd had and the opportunities up until that point, and then that 6 month show, I mean, not saying I would have stopped, but I think the motivation or the fire underneath my ass wouldn't have burned as hard.
Yeah.
Now that like I was getting these things and it was just working out, I'm like, I think this is what I need to be doing.
Yeah.
This is what my calling is I need to continue to DJ. So I would say my most memorable show was when actually I have my flyer here. I don't know if you guys know who Will Sparks is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
Mr. Happy.
I've seen every Will Sparks show on the West Coast. I've probably seen him like 15 times. I have a tattoo on my inner arm of one of his songs. And my biggest goal was to play for him.
Yeah.
Like, I want to support Will Sparks at a show. Well, this was I think it was almost 2 years ago, maybe now. Maybe like a year and a half. It says, yeah, November 22nd of 2024. So it's been a little bit of time, but I got booked at 45 for Will Spark, and it was purely off of me emailing who I needed to email and DMing everybody, Tag me in the comments, like, please, like, I have to have this show.
Yeah.
The year prior, I didn't get it. Some of my homies got booked, but I was like, I
So
want this.
close.
Next year, it's
Yeah.
all mine. It's all mine. And typically, you get asked to play like a week before, So it was like a Sunday night, and I'm like, man, should I like DM, the club and just kind of force myself in? Like, whether you like it or not, I was like, the worst you could say is no.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so I, like, Monday morning, I was like, fuck it. I'm gonna email him and just this long thing like, hey, I've seen him. He's my favorite artist. I know everyone says that to get, some shows here and there, but I'm very serious that I will absolutely crush it. And I had played 45 a few times already, and I was like, I think this is my chance to kind of skyrocket if I can get this show.
Yeah.
And his music isn't typical. It's Melbourne bounce, like hard techno.
Yeah.
It's not the most, I would say, ear pleasing stuff if you're not into it.
Mhm.
It's really hard and heavy and fast and bouncy. But I'm like, this is what I grew up listening. I love his music, so I know I would crush it. Well, it was about like 5 minutes later, I got the confirmation back after I DM'd them. They're like, you're not just gonna open, you're gonna directly support Will
Yeah.
Sparks.
Oh wow, that
Yeah.
was so cool. So they were already working on it.
And I started crying. I was at work and I dropped my phone and my coworker's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "No." Yeah, but no. I just got booked for my like someone that I've idolized for 10 years. We've met multiple times. I flew to EDC just to see him play on day one. I didn't even go the whole time. I just went one day to see him play.
Yeah.
Made a giant totem of his face, made custom jerseys, just to the nine. And I think they could tell that I was really passionate about this one show and, everything else that I had done up to that point. So they gave me the shot.
That is so
And
awesome.
it was a sold out 45 East, 500 people just bouncing, the whole time. And before he came on, um, Ian, who works at 45, he pulls me along and he's like, you got 5 minutes to go talk to your idol before he comes on. Go.
Whoa.
So I walked off the stage into the green room. Oh, what a time. And he's standing there. And I go, dude, I'm the guy who's been at every single one of your shows in the front of the crowd with the jerseys and the tattoo. The show the previous year, he brought me up on stage because he saw my tattoo
Yeah.
and he was like, "This fucking guy's got a tattoo," and I'm like, "I'm that guy from last year that
Whoa.
you brought up,"
Yeah.
and he's like, "You're the guy. You're the dude that I keep seeing at my shows," and I was like, "Yeah," and I finally got to perform for you, and he goes, "Dude, I'm not gonna lie, but that's one of the sickest bounce sets that I've heard in a long time."
Nice.
I have goosebumps right now.
That's
hearing this story.
amazing. That's so
I gave
full
him a
circle
hug.
too.
No, it wasn't like I was trying to cloud him up. I was like, bro, I love you. Like, you've been such a huge inspiration for me in my progression through my project.
Mhm.
And I was like, you know what? You got a job to do. Go crush it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll see you again. He was like, yeah, man, I'll see you again soon. And I'm like, cool. Dapped him up, gave him a hug, and I was like, go on, man, go kill it. And that was a huge turning point for me where I felt like I did the one thing that I had always wanted to do was to perform for him, and I made it happen.
Yeah.
Through the year and a half that I was working on Spaceman, and I did it, and I was able to accomplish one of my biggest personal goals as an artist. In that time and moment. And so that was huge, for me. That really, that poured gasoline all over the fire and just kind of engulfed everything. And I was like, shoot, I mean, if I can rip flawlessly and just cool, calm, and easy, but just at the same time, just so energetic. I mean, I don't really know what I can't do at this point.
Yeah.
So, and that just kind of took me into the next, year and a half where I'm at now. But yeah, the Bear Grillz show when I first started, and then that Will Sparks show was like probably two of my most memorable experiences so far.
That's awesome. Those, it sounds like you keep having these moments that are keeping you motivated.
Yeah,
Like affirmations along the way.
pretty much. Yeah, it's a lot of it is I've only been doing this for 3 years. There's a lot of people who have been mixing and producing for 10 or 15, and it's at times I feel bad because I'm like, how is this happening so fast for me? Is it, I don't know what it is. Is it just my drive? Is it the Spaceman brands? Maybe it's an culmination of everything,
Yeah.
just piled into one. But yeah, I mean, you're right. I have these little moments and I'm like, whoa, okay, man,
Yeah.
just keep the ball going, man. Like, can't stop.
Yeah. And also, your dad's probably helping you from being out
Absolutely.
there, and all of the universe is aligning. That's what it seems like.
That's how it feels, currently is everything's worked out in the way that I've wanted it to. And I kind of won't allow myself to stop because it's
Yeah.
like if I stop doing this, I've not haven't failed, but I've disappointed, the people around me who have supported me get to this point. So it's like I can't stop.
Yeah.
I will die trying, getting to where I need to, and that's just kind of how I've felt is music is my life and these moments have gotten me to where I am. So I have to continue, and I love it so much that it's not work. It's
Yeah.
pleasure.
Yeah. It's play.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you kind of wish you knew before you started this journey?
Yeah. The people and friends that you lose. One of my best friends who got me started mixing, and a couple of other people who have, I just don't talk with anymore. Maybe it's just due to, I don't know what it is, but one of my first buddies who got me into mixing, we had a falling out, and I've had, a couple other falling outs with friends in the music scene,
Yeah.
which it sucks. I've lost parents and grandparents. Losing friends is hard too. Um, so I wish I knew that sometimes people just don't stick around, and that is for whatever reason. But at the same time, it's like when one door shuts, another opens.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And I didn't know, like, I know now that, like, not everyone's gonna, be on your side, which is fine. You're gonna have people who either get jealous or might not see what you want, and they make their own decisions based off of that. And that's just stuff that I can't control at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So I would say, like, I wish I had known kind of some repercussions of just the scene in itself. People support you and some people don't. It's a lot of that comes from me growing up and always wanting to please people and try and be the best person that I can to make people smile, laugh, and be happy. And when I do my best and people just kind of still fall off, it makes me feel, it's disappointing, makes me feel sad, but it's, like I said, it's stuff that I can't control.
Yeah.
So that's one thing, having known like some of your best people may not stick around
Yeah.
if you start this, and that's their reasons in itself. And that's kind of what I found out really quick is I have a lot of fans and supporters and family and friends, but there's a couple people that I wish were still around, and it's just not how it is anymore, and that's okay. I'm on my own journey, and so are they. And I think at the end of the day, it's just all about respect and
Hmm.
making sure
Exactly.
that no one's hurt. No one's dying, but it's like it just sucks. I wish certain people around us see me grow, and so I think that's one thing that I wish I would have known. Like, some of these people just might not be around when you start this, just as like a little heads up, because when it happens, it's hard. But I mean, I've pushed through. I've made beautiful friends, like both of you. Um, New doors have opened while some close, and that's just it. That's just life.
Yeah, it's a part of the industry.
Yeah, and it is unfortunate when you first start because you do think like, these are my people, these are who I'm going to grow with, who I'm going to be sitting with at the end of the day, in a couple of
Yeah.
years, and things do fade. But yeah, the respect thing, I completely agree with that.
Yeah, yeah. Letting people walk away with respect, not stirring up anything, just knowing that you're on a different path than them, I think is,
Yeah,
it's a big part of it.
and that doesn't always mean like the
Absolutely.
doors closed forever too. I mean, we've had some doors that have closed for a little bit and then are
Yeah.
reopening again. So
Yeah, that's also true. You never know. You never know where the road's gonna lead you. You know where you want it to
That's,
go, but you got to just keep pushing ahead.
hmm
Is there
uh,
anything? Is there any advice that you'd give to anybody who like just wants to start out?
yeah, my advice is do it because you love it.
hmm
Yeah,
Do it to play. Do it to make music because you enjoy the music. Do it because you're fascinated with all the pretty buttons on the board and making them do things,
yeah, yeah,
I started because I love it. It's my passion. Music is my passion. DJing is my passion. And that's something that I find people may get clouded in is, I mean, everyone wants to be a DJ thing, right? And it's like, well, I ask people like, what do you want out of it?
yeah,
Do you want to play shows? Do you just want to know how to mix music at a house party? You know, do you just want to produce? But it's what is your goal? What would that path look like if you so choose to took a road and that path might change, and that's
yeah,
fine. But I guess my biggest advice is do it because you really love it.
yeah,
And maybe you don't love it at first, but you're gonna damn well give it a shot, and you could find that it's really fun.
yeah,
I show a lot of my friends mixing, and they're like, "Whoa, I can't even imagine." I was like, I was in your same shoes like a couple years ago.
yeah,
hmm
I looked at CDJs and mixers, and I was like, take glasses off, like, what? I could
yeah.
never.
It's scary in the beginning, big time.
It's terrifying, but you step up to the batter's box and just hope to hit a base hit, and then you get on base, and you're like, all right, I'm going to start swinging for the fences,
Yeah,
and start hitting grand slams.
big time.
So that's my biggest advice is, this might sound corny, but it's like, don't do it to be cool.
Yeah,
I don't, when I go up on stage, I feel cool because I know I'm giving my best effort
yeah,
and people are enjoying my set. I don't go up on stage and plug in my flash drive and I'm like, "Ooh, spaceman." It's like it's not like that.
yeah,
And you know, people are different, artists are different. You get into music and producing and mixing and performing. Inherently, you're a performer, you're an entertainer and an artist, but you do it because you love it. And
yep,
there's other artists who are like, that's just it, man. If you love something enough, you can you can you can do it.
yeah,
You're so much
But
better
you
at
have
your
to have
craft when you love something too.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
regardless of what it is.
just be passionate about it. Give it your all.
yeah,
If you give something 110%, it'll come back to you. And
Hmm
I say I am a living example is because I have only been doing this for 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
and I've gotten to play out of state multiple times at music festivals. But I've also played to 0 people
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
multiple times, you
Yeah.
know. But I continue to still step up on stage and get better and get better and get better because I want it to get better because I love it.
Yeah.
So
And this,
my biggest advice is love it, be passionate about it, and go into it with a full head of steam.
yeah. And know that you're gonna play to empty rooms. And those are just like reps at a gym, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And if you can
Hmm.
get a couple people dancing, it's if you can get the 2 or 3 or 10 or whatever people dancing, that's when you know that you're good. Because when there's a huge crowd, it's easier to get everybody dancing versus when it's
Yeah.
small. You know,
Uh-huh.
that's why you got to practice and you got to play those empty rooms and you got to build up that shell, that toughness, to,
Absolutely.
And it helps with the overall like ego aspect too. You
yeah,
know, it helps keep that energy. You should have the same energy as an empty room as a full room.
yeah, big time. Absolutely. Every time.
Every time. And I with no one, and I do this with everybody,
Yeah.
and that's just the energy, and that's me
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day. Like I'm gonna give you everything that I got, whether if I'm opening or closing or whatever,
Yeah.
and if I can't provide that for you guys, then I shouldn't step up on stage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I mean, in 3 years, I've never turned down a single show.
Yeah.
So
That's
that I
awesome.
think in itself is like, I'm going to give you everything and I'm going to keep going,
Yeah.
whether you're there or not. But if you're not, man, you missed out on a really good set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. So I know you've done a lot of you've been direct support for a lot of really amazing artists, and you've done B2Bs with a few really cool people.
Yeah.
How do you approach like collaborations or back to backs?
So I'm pretty picky on back to backs. I prep a lot. I like to set a lot of my cues in my music. So if I'm doing a back to back set, it's for an hour. That's 20 tracks each ish. If you're
Yeah.
playing 35 to 40 songs in an hour, you get about 15 to 20 songs each person. Um, I'm pretty meticulous about my B2B sets, whether that's me practicing with the person multiple days, before the show happens, sending them music that I like, that I want to play, making sure that we're not crossing over on tracks,
Yeah.
from stuff that they want to play. Making sure there's a really ebb and flow in the sets. Um, I I like the term like running twos or threes. So I like to run like 2 tracks, and then my partner will run 2 as well. So we're flowing back and forth, and there's not so much as like standing around and
Yeah.
dancing while the other person's mixing. Um, I I've done awesome back to backs with more prep. I've done awesome back to backs with no prep.
Yeah.
But I've also done a couple with prep and no prep that have kind of fallen over, and that's for what reason, I'm not quite sure. Maybe there's just not enough prep time, maybe too much prep time. And then by the time you step up on stage, you're like, oh, I missed that cue. Now we got to figure out what we're playing next,
Yeah.
right? You're kind of working off the fly, like quote unquote a freestyle set.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've done those multiple times where I know my music enough front to back, where if something messes up, I can scroll through my playlist and all my songs and know what I'm going to be able to play next. Um, Now, if someone else is playing with me and it's not at that level, and I've experienced that too throughout the last couple of years, is whether if it's like a live back to back or someone coming on with me and playing with me.
Yeah.
Is I have a certain speed in just how I mix. My hands work really fast, and maybe that can be a little overwhelming for a lot of people, is because then they'll see me come up on stage and it's like, whoa, dude, you're doing a lot. But that's why I like it.
Yeah.
It's because I like to put my hands on the decks and use them versus, for example, like letting songs play from front to back, and then just mixing it in and then front to back.
Yeah.
I like to build in songs during build-ups, drop swap or
Yep.
different techniques in mixing. So like I've had amazing back-to-backs. My back-to-back with Mr. Happy at 45 was amazing. I've done a back-to-back with Lord Queen Cole at the Den, and that was awesome. So they go well. It just I require in my own perspective would be more prep the better,
Yeah.
just in case something happens and you need to recover. Now, I've made mistakes on stage. I've hit the load button while something's playing.
Yeah.
Oop,
It
music
happens.
stops, but you pop on that mic and you go, "What's up, everybody? How's it going?" Run that shit back spin, and then there you go.
Yeah.
But and it's I don't know, it's a give and take. It's an even balance of, I don't do them too much, but I enjoy them when my partner, whoever I'm playing with, is, at that similar level. And if they're not, I bring them up. Like, hey, here's kind of what's going to happen. Here's the vibe that we're looking for, whether if it's bassy or housey or drum and bassy or whatever it is. I just say like the more communication, the better.
Yeah.
Talking on stage, while things are going on. So they're fun. I love a solid back to back. It allows another artist, to team up with me and have a good show. I don't do them a lot. Um, but I am also like, I do reach out and I'm like, hey man, we should do this back to back together when it's the right time.
Yeah. Yeah. Mr. Happy is really good. I did
Yeah,
last
he kills
night.
it.
I was it was me, Mr. Happy, Leonopolis, and KSMS doing a four. We each had a CDJ, and it was like for an hour. And he's so fast. He is really fast
hmm
mixing in.
That's
Um,
that's a lot of kind of what I'm saying is they're fun, but they can get like not always overwhelming. But when you got like three or four brains up there, it's like,
yeah.
whoa. But yeah, he's a stud.
Yeah.
We've done a few. We did one at the factory, which went really well. We did one at 45. One of my first back to backs was with him through Fourth World like 2.5 years ago. It was like a rooftop party,
Yeah.
and just kind of seeing where things have gone now. It's really cool. The rise and the growth and the experience and the learning and the support. We're still around doing our thing 3 years from where we were at, and it's awesome.
Yeah. We're really excited for the Naughty List. It's gonna be so cool to
I
have
am
you
too.
on. How would you describe your sound to people who haven't checked you out yet?
Yeah. So when I first started, I always told everybody I only want to play house music. I was like so serious. Like I was super serious. But then like before that Bear Grillz gig, I was rocking house.
Yeah.
All the live sets were house tracks. And it's funny because when I first got into listening to EDM, it was Flux Pavilion, Let the Bass Cannon Kick It,
Yeah.
or Scary Monsters by
Yeah.
Skrillex, Rock and Roll by Skrillex, like all that like heavy dubstep, from back in the day. So like the first five big shows after Bear Grillz was like Bear Grillz, Black Tiger Sex Machine. I got booked for Vampa, um, and a couple other like bass shows, and I'm like, why am I playing bass? I'm a house artist. Did it. So it forced me to cultivate more of a bass sound
Yeah.
within my music. So I would say like my sound now versus when I started is like a combination of like high energy tech house, um, with, some wubs and wobbles every now and there again. Maybe I throw a couple drum and bass tracks in, but it's like a journeyed sound. I would kind of categorize. I've told this to some people. It's like if you took Dom Doll and John Summit and they had a baby,
Yeah.
that would be me. They play a lot of high energy sets, but they'll throw in trap or drum and bass or that crowd effect that's like, whoa, dude, he's just not playing house the whole time.
Yeah.
But it kicks. It's powerful. Um, like I'll do a dubstep set and I call it the black hole.
Yeah, I saw that for Vampa when you did that and you had the mask on. That was a sick set, dude. And the
Yeah,
360, it was the
so
360. That was really
thank you.
sick.
Yeah, Sudden Death has his Void.
Yeah.
Sudden Death does Void.
Yeah.
Well, I was like, well, I could do like a black hole thing.
Yeah.
So when I do like a bass set, it's like a black hole kind of vibe, just like
Yeah.
really dark, heavy hitting dubstep. But my normal shows, unless it's like a drum and bass gig, like for Nero, I played all drum and bass,
Yeah.
with a few trap songs in there. But it fills the theme with still my with my sound.
Yeah.
So I guess to answer your question, it would be it's a little bit of everything
Yeah.
now versus when I started. I told going from I only want to play house to I'm going to play really high energy music and give you a performance. I'm going to make sure that you get off from that chair and you start dancing
Yeah.
one way or another, to read the room and be like, okay, maybe this isn't hitting quite right now. Let's flip it up.
Yeah.
Let's get some oohs and ahs, let's swap up the BPM, the genre a little bit and just kind of see where we can get to. So it's a little bit of everything, I'm still primarily I love like 128 to 132 tech house. A big fan of Dave Summer, like I said, Dom Dalla, John Summit, Drezzo, Pretense, are some of my favorite like tech house and like darker house artists right now. And I get a lot of my inspiration from them and listening to their sets and watching their sets. And, like halfway through, it'll be some drum and bass for like 2 tracks and then back to tech house. Then maybe you throw in some like levity, for, style, wobbles and wobbles. And then you end it on a high note. You end with what you started. And that's kind of my flow is I'll start you off quick. I'll kind of pull you in. Then we'll do a little bit of, some wiggling and then right back to the dance floor. So like I said, I start a lot of my stuff off at like, I don't play really 124, 125 BPM.
Yeah.
Music a lot. It's a little too slow for my energy. So I'll start off at like 128, even 130.
Yeah.
And just boom, 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 and then the hop from 130 to 140 is just a 10 BPM jump, which is easy, but yeah, it's a lot of high energy, high BPMs, and just a set that I hope you go, wow, that was something.
Yeah. Because you can always tell that you're having a good time and that you don't constrain yourself. And I think that's what also makes you such a good DJ is because you don't put yourself into a box, and certain people do, and you don't, and that's why you're blasting off.
I definitely did when I started. I definitely was in that box.
Yeah.
But I knew if I want to play more gigs that aren't just house shows, I need to expand my sound and take that risk. Upload a bass mix, make a dubstep track. And I got a lot of, well, aren't you a house DJ? And I'm like, yeah, but I'm playing Black Tiger,
Yeah.
it's like, what are you going to play? And then I play and it's like, oh, okay, Mr. Dubstep Head. I told you.
So it sounds like one of your messages is to take a risk. Do you have any other messages that you want to get across?
Take a risk. you know, be uncomfortable, and what I mean by that is, like when I first started, I would set up my phone and live stream off Instagram for like an hour, and then I would post it just for people to see me doing stuff. Now, whether or not I was good wasn't really the matter. It was like I was so uncomfortable, and you can tell that I'm like stiff and like heavy breathing and staring at the camera pretty much the whole time, seeing who's watching me. But through being uncomfortable and taking those big steps helped me learn and to perfect what it was that I was doing wrong. One of my buddies, his name's Connor Schaub and Cody Carroll, they're both producers and artists from Benz. I would send them my mixes and my live streams, and I would ask them, don't lie to me when I send you this stuff. I need you to be real and tell me what this sounds like.
Yeah.
Multiple times. Bro, that sucks. But it was real, It was honesty, and that's what I wanted from that. I didn't want my friends to be like, oh man, that's really good, when it wasn't.
Yeah. You need that too.
If my beat matching was off, or if I wasn't letting the song ride out or flow and breathe, but eventually, it one mix that I sent, it was like, all right, you got it. That's a hell of a lot better than before.
Yeah.
So it was the being uncomfortable, being a little scared, and not being afraid to put yourself in front of someone and being like, hey man, give me this shot.
Yeah.
Take that step. Evan Leonopoulos, he used to do a weekly thing at the Big Legrowski before it shut down. And I remember probably a couple months into me mixing is I went to one of his events, and I was like, I didn't know him at the time, but I was like, who runs this thing, man? I need to talk to him. I want to play here. And I ended up meeting him, and I was like, hey man, you should book me. Like, I want to play. And he's like, cool, man. Awesome. Let's see what you got. And he ended up booking me like a couple months after that. Played the show. But it was me reaching out to him, literally reaching out to him and grabbing him and being like, you're Evan. Let's talk. And that was, taking that risk, taking that jump, taking that step, being uncomfortable. I mean, he could have told me no. Like, who the hell are you, dude? Like spaceman guy, like whatever. But he was like, you know what? Yeah, let's see what you got. Yeah. Absolutely. I'll get you on a show. And so to answer your question, Rowdy, I think like being uncomfortable, taking those risks, putting yourself in a weird position where the outcome should be progress, and not like prevention. You're not asking to play a show because you think you're going to suck. You're asking because you're going to try your best to make sure that you sound good.
Yeah.
And even if you don't, that's another, like you said, chance to rep in the gym.
Yep.
You learn, you understand, and maybe you don't understand what you did wrong, but you're going to ask the questions next time. Be like, why did I do that?
Yeah.
Why did this happen? How can I recover better? And it's like not always being cozy.
Yeah.
But when you get cozy, boom, it's an amazing feeling. Then you can step up and you're not, I still get nerves before every show. I still get the butterflies in my stomach, but it's definitely not as bad as when I started.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I had to learn and be uncomfortable and be a little scared but still step up there and be like, I'm not the only person who's started to do this.
Yeah.
There's other people who've done this as well. So it's not impossible. It's totally possible, but how big of a step do you want to take?
Yeah. I like how when you were mentioning your message, you also touched on being open to feedback, which is pretty important.
Yeah.
You're not going to grow if you're not open.
Exactly.
Absolutely, yeah. One of the funniest stories that I have is my buddy Cody. He owns CDJ 3000, and it was like the first time I ever saw these things, you know. And I'm like, "Whoa, dude!" And I remember asking him, I was like, "So how do you like load a song?" And he's like, "I don't know." And I'm like, "What do you mean you don't know? These are your decks." And he's like, "I don't know, man." And I stared at those things for like, it seemed like 10 minutes, and I was like, "Bro," and I'm like, "I don't know." And he just goes over and goes, click, and just loads the track with just the one load button.
Yeah.
And he was like, if you want to learn, look, observe, teach yourself. You know,
Yeah.
you're not always going to have someone there to help you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, I kind of thought it was mean, but looking back on it now, I was like, I'd probably do the same thing.
Yeah.
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 I'd be like,
Big
look
time.
first,
Yeah.
try to see. And if you really can't, then there you go, you
Yeah.
know, but you can't always have the plate come to you. You know, you got to go get it and
Yep.
figure it out. And once you got it, then you can eat. But, you know, the silver platter is not always going to come to you. And when you make those mistakes on stage, you're not going to have a coach back behind you being like, you should have turned this on.
Yeah.
You got to
Big
just
time.
figure it out. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's the feedback that I get was very, it was constructive criticism, you know, like, we know you're good, but we're not just going to give this to you right now. You need to earn
Mm-hmm.
it.
Yeah.
I played like on a Denon board in Vegas on Valentine's Day this last year, and I was like, "What, Denon?
No.
I play on Pioneer."
Yeah.
But I flew down and I took the whole day before the show. I sat in front of that thing for like 5 hours,
Yeah.
mixed on it, just learned all the buttons. You know, was like, you know what, this is it's not bad, you
Yeah.
know, but I had to practice. I
Yeah.
didn't just expect to show up and just play
Mm-hmm.
on something that I've never played on before, you know.
Yeah.
So that's loops you back to, I mean, how well do you want to play on this board or your performances? Are you going to practice, take the time to step away and actually put your eyeballs and hands on something? Or are you going to just assume everything is going to be great? Well, I'd rather pick the first option than the
Yeah.
second. And
Yeah.
prep and practice and make sure that when I step up on stage, I'm going to be doing best that I can.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah. Speaking of which, this upcoming one, the naughty list.
Yes, sir.
We have a really stacked lineup. It's going to be really awesome. It's going to be our holiday party. Do you have any other shows or projects coming out
Yeah.
after that?
So I have obviously the naughty list on the 19th, which I'm hyped for. I have some originals that I'll be playing. I have a
Nice.
new project that I'm working on right now. It's a Big Papa remix. Um, with me and my old roommate. He goes by Galactic Catnip. His name's Tyler
Aw.
Hatch.
That's so cool.
Nice.
And it's funny because the inspiration from that song, Big Papa, um, there was a incident that happened a couple months ago. I was driving back from a show in the mountains, and there was this guy riding a bicycle asking for cans outside of my house. And I was like, "Oh yeah, man." I'm like unloading my car. I was like, "Yeah, bro, I got some cans in my yard. Like, I'll go get them for you. Like, no problem." And I come back out, and he's like, "Yeah, man, I've been homeless for a while. Just trying to like save up some money, get some cans." And I was like, "Dude, I get it. My dad used to be homeless." Um, you know, he's like, "Oh, what's your dad's name, man?" And I was like, "His name's John." He's like, "John Heath?" And I was like, "Do you know my dad?" And I ran inside my house and grabbed a photo. Fun fact, I have two fathers, one a biological father and my adoptive father.
Yeah.
I was in foster care when I was little. So my adoptive father was the DJ,
Mm-hmm.
and my biological father was Um, just kind of a brute, kind of in and out of shenanigans his whole life. Inevitably, they did both pass. But John was the man that this guy was talking about, my biological father. So I ran inside, I grabbed a photo of him, and I was like, "Is this who you're talking about?" And he was like, "Yeah, that's Big Papa." And I'm like, "What?" He was like, "That's what we used to call him. That's what like the streets called him was Big Papa." And he's
Whoa.
like, "You do look like John's kid, and I know that because of how loving you are and giving, because he was the same way." And I just started crying, like right there. It was like, "There's no way you knew my dad." He was like, "Yeah, man, your dad was a hell of a person." So from that, I got the inspiration to remix Big Papa by Biggie.
Yeah.
And so that's my latest project right now. I will be playing it on the 19th, so you guys will get to hear it.
Nice.
So that's my current one. I have a couple smaller things in the works with artists, Yappa, Feedback. Um, Me and Mr. Happy have chatted about, collabing on a track or two. He's busy, but for now, I have like 4 songs that I know like are ready to drop. Big Papa isn't quite there yet, but I'm hoping to have that out hopefully within the next month,
Yeah.
um,
Sick.
officially. So, and then as far as shows goes, obviously I have the 19th with you guys, and then I'm playing Realm for Chami and DJ Susan on New Year's Eve.
Nice.
So that's as far as my current um, just like schedule right now. I'm trying to lock into making more music. The shows will come, but I want to be able to make sure that I'm playing my own originals, my
Yeah.
own edits, my own flipses, and remixes. And that loops me back into like my point is, what do you want out of the mixing and the artistry of playing clubs and shows? Is you want to play your own music.
Mm-hmm.
You want to play your own stuff, and playing other music from other people is amazing because you get to support other artists. Um, But then it's, likewise, you make your own stuff and then they play your music and support
Yeah.
you. If you scratch each other's backs, essentially. So that's kind of where I'm at right now is creating my little space cave, making my studio, more affluent and actually, creating some badass projects down here, getting ready for Christmas, getting ready for New Year's, getting ready for for your guys' show and the Naughty List and all the other legends that are on the lineup, and putting down some more tunes and just keeping the snowball rolling down the mountain, getting bigger and bigger and faster and faster.
Oh yeah. Awesome. Well, we really appreciate you being on. It's been great chatting with you, and I cannot
Yeah,
wait until the 19th. We're gonna have so much fun.
Yeah.
yeah. I'm glad you guys were able to hear my story. It's one that I enjoy talking about once I get into like the depths of it and why I started and who helped me and the time frame in which I've gotten to where I'm at. I am truly blessed and lucky to be able to do what I do and to interact with, you guys, my family, my fans, and people who just have enjoyed seeing this little astronaut guy on stage with a helmet on, just shake his hips and
That's
do the
awesome.
thing. And it's awesome. Like I'm glad I started when I did. I got a lot of music exposure from shows, meeting artists through those shows, and exposing myself to just the EDM scene, the culture, the people, the places that I've been able to travel because of music.
Mm-hmm.
And, I only know it's going to continue to take off.
No, we really appreciate you. We love you, man. That was awesome, and
Love you too,
it
guys.
was a
Yeah, absolutely.
pleasure to hear your journey. So thank you,
Thank you.
Yes.
and we will
Thank
You're
you.
see you.
welcome.
We'll see you in a couple days, or like three or
Yeah.
4 days.
Yeah, Friday.
I'll see you at the end of the week. I
Awesome.
can't wait. I got
So
some fun
cool.
surprises for you guys. So
Woo-woo.
much love.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. Last stop.
Last stop.